For everybody who hasn't met me, I'm Sarah Lights. I'm the head of marketing here at Malomo. I'm going to be moderating our awesome panel discussion here today. We've got a lot of great brands and agencies. We did have a couple last minute changes. Unfortunately, the Bryans from Ned and Overnight Oats had some conflicts that couldn't be avoided. So they won't be able to join us today on the panel, but we still have a lot of really great people joining us today. First, we have Dan he's the customer success manager at Pura Vida, a jewelry and lifestyle brand. Prior to Pura Vida, Dan was a team lead at a D2C startup called Smash Tech that sold supplements. A fun fact about Dan is he lived and studied abroad in Barcelona, Spain for 4 months in college and was also the captain of the soccer team. Next, we have Mackenzie Bauer, who is currently not in her seat and is running around, but we're going to serve her up the first question later today because she's a little bit busy running around with kids. In 2015, Mackenzie and her husband, Colby, founded Thread Wallets. Through their venture, they have been able to find an irreplaceable sense of freedom and happiness as they've seen their vision unfold. She also went to college in Hawaii. Our next panelist is Nevin Jitmalani. He's the founder and CEO of Bond Chain Growth, a New York-based consulting firm that works with a lot of D2C brands. Before starting Bond Chain Growth, he led e-commerce at Tusk, a D2C leather good brand. And Nevin recently visited California for the first time, right, Nevin? Was that the first time, or just in
Not
general?
the first time, just in general,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So that was your fun fact. We have Jesse Byrne is the founder of Red Beer Conversions, and he works with brands like Twillery, and he's obsessed with breakfast burritos, and he even created a detailed rating system. And we have yet to see this, but I'm sure he'll be happy to share that with a lot of you. He evaluates them on taste, quality, ingredients, and value. Last but not least, we have Chuck Melber, and he's the marketing director at Nomad Goods. He's been with Nomad for the last 7 years, and he's been overseeing all aspects of digital marketing and PR. His fun fact, which is a little more concerning, and I still haven't gotten all the facts, so we're gonna have to learn more about this, Chuck. But he nearly drowned in Honduras trying to chase down a rogue jet ski during a storm. So Chuck, we'll have to reconnect sometime after this to learn more about that. Uh,
It's a story best told over a beer.
okay, okay. A few housekeeping things and some logistics. We have a couple prepared questions for each of our panelists, and then after we go through those, we'll take some questions from the chat. So feel free to ask questions. If you're addressing a specific panelist, make sure you say who you're addressing in the chat. And then for everybody who stays on until the end, we'll be selecting a participant to win a free set of AirPods. So we'll reach out to you at the end to get your address so we can ship those to you. And then the event is recorded, so we'll share that to everyone at the end. And then with that, Mackenzie, I promised we'd give you the first question, so here it goes. How does Thread Wallet stand out and grab your customers' attention during this busy holiday season?
Wow. Okay, so first
Yeah,
question is also like one of
I
the hardest
know,
questions, I feel
right?
like. Yeah, this is really tough. And if I'm being honest, I stepped down from being the chief marketing officer back in April. So when I read that this was my question, I was like, I don't know, how do we plan on doing this? But I think for us, the biggest thing is you have to prepare. Like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday season can't be just like, I'm going to send out a text now and hope it does well, or, oh, we should do this. Like your strategy has to start, and ours did back in August, July, with list building tactics, because once October, November rolls around, trying to build your SMS list or your email list, whatever it is, it's too late. You've got to start early on. So even right now, I'm like, if you haven't started those efforts with creative giveaways, creative ad campaigns, whatever it is, start now, because that list building is what's going to bring you success during that holiday season, during Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, and then into, excuse me, into December. And then honestly, you just have to be as creative as possible. We've been testing a lot of video recently, which is I think video is like the hot topic. We released like our first long form video ad this past year that we spent. It was our biggest purchase outside of purchase orders that we've ever had in our business. And so it was really risky. Like we didn't know if it would be beneficial in the long run, but we went for it and it has been wonderful and performed really great. I wish I had all the statistics and data on it right now to share with you, but trying new things. We at Thread call it zig or zag when others are zigging. So it's actually a book by Marty Neumeier called Zag. So just try to be as creative as possible leading into this crazy time of year.
Awesome. That's great advice. Chuck, what about you? What about you or Dan? Do you have any other advice?
Like Mackenzie said, you got to start early, prep early. Whatever your game plan is going to be, that just start getting all your ducks in a row ahead of time. Because it's going to be chaos. It always is chaos during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but this year I think it's going to be even more so. So just making sure you have your plan A ready to go, but then also plan B and possibly even plan C if something happens that throws a wrench in your game plan.
How early do you guys really start prepping? I was seeing some brands starting to say that they're prepping in like June and July. Do you start prepping then earlier than that? What do you guys start thinking when you start thinking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
I think for us, I don't know if you were mentioning that question to Chuck or back to me, but I think for us at Thread Wallets, we're maybe not sitting down saying this is what we're going to do for Black Friday as early as like June, but we
Oh no.
I'll jump in there.
Sure.
For us at Nomad, it kind of starts in January to a degree, where we do a bit of a debrief on what happened the year before, what we did right, what we did wrong, what we feel was successful and what wasn't, and then kind of file that away until, in the best case scenario, August, September. This year, I'm really getting a little bit of a late start on things. So we're just kind of finalizing Black Friday plans at this moment. But I think it's really important to have that little retrospective look at what you guys did the year before, just to make sure you A, write down what worked, but then also B, cross things off the list that didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. Kind of doing a reflection on what worked and didn't work is really important. And yeah, I think with the brands that I work with, we start planning in September into early October sometimes, but September is, I think, a good time to kind of at least start getting ideas in terms of the offer set in stone.
Well, I'll do a little plug. That's why we're going to do the second version of this in January, where we're going to do the retrospective to talk about, what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah. I think the other big thing that I'm seeing at least is that sales are starting earlier and earlier. So with one of the brands that I'm working with, we're doing a sale in early November to try to get the customers to spend those dollars on us versus on other brands. And I've seen that be successful in past years as well, without doing much to like degrade the integrity of the brand.
Yeah, totally. Well, the next question is for you, Dan. At Pure Vita, how do you guys reward loyal customers while also, offering perks to incentivize and retain new customers? How do you kind of do different approaches for these different types of customers?
Yeah, well, one thing we like to do is, I'm sure this is very common, but we do offer the ability for customers to create their own account. And by doing so, every time they make a purchase, they're rewarded with what we call shore dollars, which can be redeemed for future discounts. And I think that's a great way to, get repeat buyers. I know in my personal life, companies that have this type of program, I'm much more likely to do future business with. something that I'm thinking about. If I need like a new shirt or a new jacket, I'm thinking about, hey, how can I get discounts? And if I know a certain brand is offering me discounts based on past purchase history, that's kind of the first brand that comes to mind when I'm thinking about making a future purchase. So just by offering some type of reward to incentivize these people to come back and purchase from your brand again, I think is key. And also, a lot of the things that we do in terms of marketing to get customers, especially these new customers, for example, just little things like signing up for our email list, signing up for our SMS list for 20% off your future purchases. We want to constantly let customers know about what we have for new product releases, new sales coming out. And this past year has been really a monumental year for Pura Vida, as we just have dived into apparel and backpacks and laptop cases. And a lot of these products are brand new for us. So it's just important to constantly listen for customer feedback, find out what we're doing well, areas of improvement, and just making sure that, the products that we're launching are stuff that are in demand, customers are asking for. So a very simple change that we implemented this year, for example, is just offering more plus sizes. We got some feedback that the sizing that we had wasn't inclusive enough, and understandably so. We got that feedback, and so we were proud to now offer a lot more plus sizes. And so listening to customer feedback, I think, is always super important for retention. Aside from that, we do also have an ambassador program as well. And I think that's one of the things that Pura Vida has always done well for many years now. I couldn't tell you how many ambassadors we have, but I know it's a lot. And it's a win-win, where if someone is referred by an ambassador and they provide their code, that person's getting 20% off their purchase. And in turn, the ambassador basically gets a 10% commission on that purchase. So just by letting others kind of do the marketing for you, I think is a great way to help acquire new customers. I'm sure everyone on this call knows the power of, being referred by a friend or family member. You instantly have that trust and connection with the brand. And that's one thing that I think Pura Vida has always done well, is just by having that ambassador program. It's a very easy way for us to get new customers and hopefully get future brand ambassadors as well, if people are super passionate about Pura Vida. And then I just wanted to also touch upon, we have 2 different subscriptions that we run. So we have like a bracelet club, $14.95 per month, and you can choose which bracelet packs you'd like. And then we also have a jewelry club, $19.95 a month, and you get a lot of beautiful jewelry sent right to you. And of course, for that, we have a lot of tactics basically to help keep these people. And if they do want to opt out, we're doing everything we can to offer them great perks to remain with us. So an example, one thing that we did this summer, which I thought was a big success, is we've partnered with some popular brands like Sunbum, for example, and we threw in like some cool Sunbum products into the subscription box. And then we also partnered with Ulta Beauty to throw in like coupons that customers can use in stores or online. So yeah, I think keeping your current customers is very important, and doing things to also, acquire new customers is very important, especially with all the iOS 14 changes that I'm sure many brands have experienced over the past few months. So I know that was a very long-winded answer, but tried to make sure I'm covering all the points that we had talked about.
What do you use for a loyalty program, Dan?
Swell.
Swell, okay. Is it the same for your ambassador program too, or is that something?
I believe the ambassador program is through Referral.
Cool, thank you.
Yep. And now I'm just kind of reading some of the questions here. I saw Matt threw one in.
Yeah. Mackenzie and Chuck, do you guys also have a loyalty program?
We did have a loyalty program, but we introduced it to help increase our returning customer rate, and we didn't see it really affect that. And we got our returning customer rate up to a place like without it. Like we took the loyalty program away and it has stayed the same, and it's like right where we want it to be. So it just didn't perform the way that we'd hoped it did, so we got rid of it. But we do use Referral as well for like an affiliate ambassador program.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
We didn't have one for a long time, but then running some post-purchase surveys and seeing the data, it's like Dan said, there's a ton of people who refer brands to their friends and family. So we're going to try and start capitalizing on that now, and we're working on an integration, which I was hoping would be live for holiday, but I think it's going to be more of a Q1 thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of success with the referral program. We haven't really implemented our loyalty program successfully, in my opinion. And this is for a brand called Privé that I work with. But the referral program has done well. We do a pop-up at the end of every purchase, and we've got we send out stuff through email as well post-purchase.
Nevin, you talked a little bit about like starting the sales early, and this kind of goes along that length with like the container get in and all of these shipping issues. Are you guys starting to see some of that issue, like with the container shipment crunch and creating all of this chaos and the shipping change? Have you started seeing some of the impact? And Chuck, I know you said that you have some issues with that and some experience. Do you want to start addressing that question first, and then Nevin, maybe I'll come back to you.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for Nomad, we're pretty teed up at this point with holiday inventory. So the thing that makes me most concerned is the last mile delivery stuff, getting items from our warehouse to the customer via FedEx or USPS. I know FedEx is having a hard time employing enough people, enough drivers. I think I even saw an article that they're trying to push for like federal legalization of marijuana so they can hire more people that they don't have to then worry about testing for drugs, which I think is awesome and hilarious. But anyhow, I'm most concerned about final mile deliveries. But at the same time, there is always last minute hiccups that may occur. Maybe we need to air freight in a last minute shipment and there might not be air freight space available. We'll find out. But we're working on contingency plans now for that. And if it happens that we're out of a top selling SKU or product, how are we going to address that and try to make something available to folks that they can purchase, even if the number one thing they want isn't available on the site. I can go on if people want to, but there's a whole myriad of things to chat about when it comes to container getting or just shipping logistics in general right now.
Yeah, we've definitely seen issues with it. I think the most important thing is, at least this year for Black Friday, it was kind of a given that these issues were going to be there. So if you didn't plan your purchases early out enough, like it's kind of your own fault. Yeah, and I think we just did a good job at the couple brands that I work with to make sure that everything was purchased well in advance. And then in terms of last mile delivery, I'm super worried about it as well. Who knows what FedEx and all are going to do and what it's going to be like, but it is what it is. There's not really much you can do to mitigate those risks. And that is actually one of the reasons that we're doing stuff earlier in the month.
Yeah, same here. We're going to start pushing our sales stuff from probably November 2nd or so. And we're going to be super transparent with our messaging too, talking about how like you can expect there to be shipping issues this year. You can expect stuff to run out early. So now's your chance to get it while we have it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing the same exact messaging for our early sale, but I've heard mixed reviews on whether people are addressing the concern post-purchase. Some people are saying like, it is what it is. There's not really much that you can do and you don't get much benefit from messaging about it. Other people are saying that it's better be transparent. So I don't think there's a consensus on what the best practice is for post-purchase messaging about shipping yet.
Jesse, I saw you came off mute. Do you have anything to talk about?
I mean, definitely like on the email SMS side, I will be messaging that. I do think just the companies that I work with, the support tickets that they're seeing, a lot has to do even right now with shipping and deliveries. So I can only imagine it's going to get worse. So we're building some messaging into the Black Friday, Cyber Monday flows to kind of address that up front.
Yeah. Mackenzie and Dan, are you doing anything proactively to kind of deal with what will already be Black Friday, Cyber Monday issues?
I think it was last year we talked to our warehouse team about like the amount of orders that we expected, and it was still more and they weren't prepared. So this year, like making sure that everyone on the team at our warehouse is aware of like what we're thinking our projections are and how many orders we think we'll be receiving. And then also this is our first year using Malomo. And so I think really leaning into that, because if customers are going to track where their package is, making sure that those landing pages are built out with all the information that they'll need to make sure that they get their product on time and have the information necessary for that.
Yeah, very similar on our end. I have to give our warehouse a lot of credit. They did a wonderful job last year. And while I can't speak on the specifics this year, I'm sure they're making sure they're properly staffed and have an idea as to how much order volume they're looking at. And I'm of the opinion, I think it's best to just be transparent with your customers and try and set proper expectations in your shipping related emails and just anywhere that the customers will see, just ask for patience and understanding. Of course, we recognize there will be some carrier issues, but I'd recommend maybe considering letting customers know when it is appropriate to reach out. Like, hey, if your order hasn't arrived in X number of days, please feel free to contact us. But even just by setting that expectation, hopefully on the CS side of things, you are able to reduce redundant, hey, where's my order related inquiries. I think just by setting that expectation, I know myself as a customer, I appreciate that transparency and just asking for patience, I think sometimes goes a long way. Like, we're all in this together. We're all human. We understand it's going to be a very busy holiday season, but hopefully by just having that communication and transparency, it reduces the number of support tickets for where is my order.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jesse, this is a question for you. With some of the brands that you work with, what are some of the special or unique approaches to Black Friday, Cyber Monday have stood out to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. This year, especially building up the SMS list ahead of time for the early access sales, that's been a big initiative for all my clients. And also using reply emails as a strategy to help with engagement and helping our deliverability, because with iOS 15, we're losing that visibility with the open rate metric. And I'm already seeing open rates inflate on a lot of my accounts. So to kind of combat that, we're getting a little bit more conversational with some of our emails, having people reply back, and just using some of those responses. For instance, a company that they sell men's apparel, we asked, what does style mean to you? And people replied back short answers, long answers, and we just had a ton of responses. That helps with deliverability. And then we can go ahead and use some of the replies as, with screenshots, and use those in future messages as well. And that going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think this year especially is figuring out ahead of time what offers to make and when you're going to make them. And all my clients are starting early in November as well. This is the earliest I've ever gotten a Black Friday, Cyber Monday initiative off the ground. And a lot of it is due to some of the container shipping issues as well. So those are the main ones that stand out. And then, if you have a loyalty program, referral program, leaning on those people, the VIPs on your list, reaching out to them early on and giving them first access, I think that's super important. And also, if you know what you messaged last year, making sure that, they're going to probably remember. And even if they don't, it's important to know that going into whichever offer you're going to make, that you can sweeten it a little bit more, however that looks for your brand.
Yeah.
Those reply emails, are you guys or your clients responding to the responses? Or
I was going to ask the exact same question.
It's a great question. So typically we have them, most emails are forwarded to customer support because it's just easier. I've had these ones go to me and then I'll reply back because I want to know what everybody's saying. So I have a better sense and get a temperature check on the list.
So is it you don't have to share exact numbers, but are you only sending it to 10% of the list then, so you don't just blow up your inbox?
Right. Yeah. So we're sending to the very most engaged people. So yeah, it's probably honestly a 1 or 2% reply rate. It's not that high, but yeah, there's hundreds, if not thousands of emails that I get flooded with. So we have a separate inbox that I'm checking with that. Yeah.
Cool.
So kind of along that iOS 15 and 14, I know Matt kind of asked this in the chat and I'm going off script a little bit, but how have you seen that kind of change your strategy with Black Friday, Cyber Monday? And Nevin, since you're off mute, maybe I'll ask you that first.
Yeah, sounds good. I think this goes back to just your overall strategy on how you're approaching ads. I don't know if this is specific to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but we've just been focusing a lot more on how our overall blended metrics fit within our business to combat these higher CPMs essentially. So how much more we can afford to spend on prospecting ads to therefore still have a lifetime value positive customer in terms of relative to our cost of customer acquisition. And then what we've also tried to do is we've tried to play around with the numbers to give us a little bit more buffer room in terms of like, if we get one customer, they refer, and maybe 5% of every new customer refers another customer, we can throw that into the lifetime value calculation as well. So a lot of it has just been playing with the numbers to see how much more we can essentially spend to acquire new customers. And then the other thing is, I think it's just important to just even more so than ever focus on your retargeting efforts and your making sure that all your lists are optimized, making sure that your SMS campaigns are good, and you're using them to their fullest extent. Because if you're not doing all of that, then like before you may have been able to run a profitable business with doing a haphazard job on email or SMS, but that no longer is the case with these high CPMs.
Anyone else want to jump in on their thoughts?
I mean, I don't know too much about the iOS 14 stuff in terms of the advertising side, but with iOS 15 and open rate Armageddon, really just building segments out that don't have the open rate metric in there, having the click engaged metric in there, active on site, viewed product in the last 30 to 90 days. So really playing with campaigns around that. And then I've also created segments just of people who open on iOS devices or Apple devices to just get a sense of, when I'm sending campaigns to them, are our metrics increasing, our open rate metrics inflated, and they are for a lot of accounts. So I'm getting a sense still for where that is. I mean, it's still very new. We're a couple weeks into this update, and by the end of the year, most people will have updated their all their Apple devices. Typically within 3 months, most people have updated. So it's kind of TBD right now. Don't know. I'm not too concerned about opens. The open rate metric's always been a vanity metric anyways. At the end of the day, it's clicks and sales. So yeah, that's really what I'm paying attention to.
Chuck, I know you're in digital marketing. Do you have any thoughts on iOS 14?
I mean, the lack of transparent, or the lack of reporting, like in-platform reporting, has kind of forced me to go more top of funnel with my spend. In the past, it's always been very, very conversion driven. Like, let's set up conversion based optimization on Facebook or Google or anything like that. But now that I'm losing that conversion tracking, it's given me the freedom to kind of expand and start testing new avenues that are, like I said, more top of funnel. So like DTV ads, for example, or podcast ads, stuff that has always been traditionally hard to track is now on a more of a level playing field with Facebook and the like. So I'm definitely going deeper in those other channels this year.
Yeah, cool. That's cool.
Yeah, also just really quickly to touch on Jesse's point about email tracking on iOS 15. Klaviyo, I don't think, has even figured out what they're doing properly. So it's kind of like when iOS 14 came out with Facebook, and Facebook was kind of flying blind. I think Klaviyo is kind of in the same boat right now, and they're still trying to figure things out. So hopefully it gets better in terms of the reporting that they offer in a couple months.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was actually wrestling with that yesterday, so that's funny you bring it up, man.
Yeah.
Just one thing I wanted to add on Pura Vida's end. We're kind of going back to our grassroots and what we did before digital marketing kind of blew up. So I think a lot of people know that Pura Vida has worked with a lot of big influencers this past year, probably most notably TikTok star Charlie D'Amelio, a star from the Outer Banks show, Madison Bailey. We're actually now trying to work with, I guess, micro influencers, if you'd call them, like people with under 20,000 followers, and basically just like offering to send them product if they post it on their page, and just kind of getting some brand exposure through these people. We have some extra inventory. It's always good to see working with smaller influencers. So I know my team has been working on adding micro influencers to a list, and we're going to reach out to these people, see if we can send them some product in exchange for some marketing. So I just thought it was worth noting that we're kind of going back to some of the original strategies that Pura Vida implemented when, back 10 years ago. So.
Yeah, even for 2022, we're doing a lot on that side as well.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Well, Nevin, this is another question for you. You work with a lot of brands and you have a lot of perspectives. So what are your predictions for this holiday season, and what kind of trends do you anticipate? I know we've kind of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I've gone over a lot, but in my opinion, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is targeting your existing user base or customer base, your email base, your SMS base, right? That's where you're going to get a bulk of your orders from. And even if you're getting new first-time customers, I don't know how many of those new customers are coming from ads, like cold, haven't heard about you, seeing your ad for the first time during the sale and making a purchase. It's going to be minimal in my opinion. Either they've heard about you somewhere and they're seeing a retargeting ad, or even the cold prospecting ads that you're running, they've probably heard about you, seen an ad from somewhere, seen your products in some store, and then are making a purchase from you. So I think it's more important than ever to basically focus on email and optimizing, as I mentioned before, all your campaigns. And when I say campaigns, I don't just mean like your general, like, hey, here's a Black Friday sale. I'm talking about like even all your flows, updating those flows, your retargeting flows to have your Black Friday offer, have Black Friday copy on them, your SMS retargeting, the same thing there. And then really leaning into SMS this year. I think it's going to be bigger than it has been every other year, probably because list sizes are also growing. But I think SMS is going to be huge, and we've seen a ton of success with it over the last year. And then ads are going to be super expensive, as they always are. Like, it's not going to be anything crazier relative to the increase in CPMs last year. At least that's my opinion on it. But CPMs are higher than last year, so they're going to be even higher going into Black Friday. And then I think the biggest thing is to lean on your loyal customers as well. If you have a loyalty program, make sure you lean on that, and just getting the highest ROI out of the people that are already engaging with your brand.
Awesome, thanks. Anyone else want to talk about trends or their predictions for this year? Or is that something we want to talk about in January about what we saw? Chuck?
I don't envy you, Dan, or anybody here that works in CS.
I mean, on our end, we start like doing seasonal hires. We basically start lining that stuff up in late August. September is kind of used as an onboarding and training month. So we have about 32 full-time members for our CS team in non-seasonal months. And then we essentially double our team size. So we have 30 people who are like kind of going through training right now, and just, of course, all hands on deck for November, December. So, but yeah, I think as far as trends are concerned, I think the obvious thing that many people are pointing out is that it's just happening earlier and earlier this year. I know even I had like a group text with my family, and they're like, hey, let's start like getting these gifts out the door now sooner than later. And here we are mid-October. So I think everyone's anticipating these shipping delays and just doing the best they can to weather the storm and get out ahead of it to the best of their ability.
Yeah. So Dan, kind of along those lines, is there anything like specifically you do to proactively kind of reduce those customer support questions? I know you talked a little bit about just like being really transparent, but a little bit more.
I mean, I think anywhere that you're communicating with your customers, whether it's email content or like social media or anywhere, just kind of doing the best you can to communicate some of these anticipated delays. And then one thing on the CS side of things is we like to update all of our knowledge base articles. So I think anytime a customer can serve themselves and get a question answered by hopping on and maybe Googling a question or going to your site and then getting into your help desk and viewing some of these self-service articles through your knowledge base, I think that's important. Just basically doing whatever you can to have customers be able to get their question answered without reaching out to you. So yeah, we like to make sure we're updating all of our knowledge base articles, just communicating with customers through our marketing emails or tracking related emails, and just setting proper expectations and hopefully letting them be able to serve themselves when possible.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you guys use for your tickets?
Customer is our help desk.
Okay.
Mackenzie and Chuck, do you guys do any like proactive kind of communication to help mitigate some of those support tickets?
That's a good question. I know we have like our customer service team, customer experience team is always like proactively building out ways. And I know that they've even started taking on like calling customers like a few a week, and just trying to see like check in with them and stuff to see if there's any holes that we're missing. But yeah, very similar to what Dan was saying, starting early, training people, making sure that all the resources are built out, whether it's through the post-purchase flows on your email, that they're getting all the information that they can receive when it's appropriate for them to be receiving that information.
For us, it's always a struggle to keep everyone informed. I feel like you can put a notification about shipping delays on 5 different parts of the website, and people will see it 5 different times through transactional emails, but they'll never actually see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually on the PDPs, we'll have shipping delay notification on our product pages. We'll have shipping expectations set on the transactional email post-purchase. We of course have Malomo. And then like, we're kind of debating how we're going to handle like shipping cutoffs this year. Traditionally, I've always been very wary of it just because I don't like setting an expectation and then missing it. I'd rather leave it ambiguous, to be honest. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to take whatever the projections are we get from FedEx or our shipping partners and then add a week to it probably. And then maybe add that as like a notification bar on the website, just telling people like, hey, if you want this in time for Christmas, you better order by December 1st or something like that.
Yeah, it's always a like chicken or egg issue, because if you say it, then people know that they're not going to get it by Christmas, even if they place their order after. But if you don't say it, then they could still hope. So
yeah, exactly. To be honest too, like if we go back order on some products, even if we think it's going to ship by like December 20th, maybe, we're definitely going to say like January 1 ship date.
Yeah. Just
to try and alleviate those concerns of people that are like, oh, you said it would ship by December 20th and it shipped on December 21st and didn't make it in time for Christmas or something. I'd rather.
My issue with that is always like, are you losing a sale because you say it type of thing?
No, I totally hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesse and Nevin, are there things that you recommend to your customers that they definitely do to proactively communicate to their customers or not do?
Jesse, you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. In a post-purchase flow, I think messaging, obviously the timing and things like that, like expectations, again, setting those expectations. And kind of to what Dan was saying, having it be as self-serve as possible, linking to like an FAQ page, or if there's like a knowledge base, something like that. Those are the main ones that come to mind.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as I mentioned before, I'm still not entirely sure what the best approach is in terms of these shipping, in terms of shipping notifications, like whether to message it or not. Like we just haven't 100% decided on what we want to do yet.
Yeah.
Because it really comes down to like the last few days before Christmas that this really just becomes an issue. Before that, I feel like people are more tolerant towards like not getting their order by like a week later during Black Friday or something like that. It's really just the Christmas dates where it becomes a concern. And I'm sure we're going to do something to indicate it if we see it earlier in the month that it's becoming a major issue. But if it's not, then yeah, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do right now.
Makes sense. Well, just wanted to throw out there, we only have a couple minutes left. If anybody does have questions for our panelists, make sure you put it in the chat. If not, I'll just keep asking everybody questions. A couple more questions I have for you guys. Kind of as you're prepping for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, is there one thing that you're kind of really excited about doing that kind of went really well in your preparation? And then, on the flip side, is there one thing that you're really worried about or maybe didn't go well as you're preparing for Black Friday? And I'll just kind of open it up to everybody on the panel. Anybody who wants to go first, as I wait for anyone to go off mute.
I'm super curious to see what ads are like, to be honest. I think this has been one of the highest like talked about issues just because of how many changes there are on Facebook and Instagram marketing and everything. But I'm just really curious to see what they're like this year, whether it's all hype or whether they're actually really expensive.
Yeah. And Mackenzie, you talked about the long form video. Was that specifically for Black Friday, or was that just kind of something you did this year?
Well, one of our biggest like talking points over the past this year and even into the year prior was diversification. And I think COVID taught us that with retail. And then iOS 14 taught us that with ads, that you have to have a diverse like marketing channels to reach out to your customers. And we've been so reliant on Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So getting more into YouTube, Google, things like that is one of the main reasons why we invested in this video. And it has performed wonderfully for us. And so I'm really excited looking into Black Friday and Cyber Monday. This is the first year that we've had something like this in our arsenal, and it's opened up more channels for us. And so we're really excited to see how this performs throughout the next few months.
What was the video like? Was it like a highly produced video?
Yeah. So we spent like over $100,000 on it, and it was like we flew out to Hawaii. We had like big talent filming it and writing the script, and it's an origin story video. We wanted it to be something that could be evergreen and live on after a certain collection, comes and goes. So it's our origin story, and I'll put the link in the messages. But yeah, it's performed really well. It's kind of cheesy, but still on brand. Oh, yeah. Enough funny jokes. But yeah, it's done really well. I'll grab the link really quick and send it over in the comments.
Yeah. Where are you seeing it perform well?
I couldn't give you the specifics on that because I'm not our e-commerce manager is the one that like keeps tabs on all of that. But probably I would say YouTube and Google, it's doing really well. Facebook, it's also done well. Just across the board, it's done well. I can shoot me an email and I can get you like the better data and statistics on that.
Yeah, for sure. No, the reason I'm asking is because we tried this as well earlier in the year. Like a highly produced video. It wasn't an origin story type of video. It was more of just like showing our products, but it was like very highly produced. And we've seen, unfortunately, just not really good results with it, especially on paid social and paid search. Even on YouTube, it's just not performed as well as we were expecting it to. And like some of the more organic, like selfie style videos have just performed way better than some of the highly produced ones.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, this one, on YouTube alone, it has over 1.3 million views. I know that in one of our last meetings, I just pulled this up, it had, across all channels, we just passed 14 million views.
Oh, wow.
So
it is really cute, Mackenzie.
Thanks.
I saw it. Yeah.
I'm sending it over right now. And I'm sorry I'm not a more competent founder and I don't know all the data.
And are all those views organic, or were they like views that you used that you got paid?
No, we're running ads to it for sure.
Okay, got it.
Putting it right here. Okay, there you go. You can all watch it and see me and my husband, our poor acting skills.
Nice. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna probably announce the winner. I know we said we would try to keep it short. I know everybody's super busy with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so we were gonna try to keep it to 45 minutes instead of an hour. So I will let Mariah announce the AirPods winner, and then I will follow up with a short little thing at the end. And Mariah, take it away.
Yes, so hello everyone. I'm Mariah. I work on marketing with Sarah, and I get to do the lucky giveaway. So thank you first for everyone who attended this awesome webinar, but unfortunately there can only be one winner. So with that, Laura Clark, you're our winner for today. Congratulations. I'll be reaching out to you to get your information, so be on the lookout for that. And with that, Sarah, take us home.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on the webinar. Panelists, thank you so much for your time, for your thoughtful answers. We really, really appreciated you guys taking the time out of your day to join us. And again, just for being part of today. One last thing, we are offering a Purple Friday deal for any new customers. I'm not sure if we have any new people who are joining us today, but if there are, if there aren't, share it with your friends. And then make sure to stay tuned for part 2 in January. We'll share that with everybody where we're going to do a recap on what went right and what went wrong, and if any of our predictions came true and how everything turned out. So see you all then. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Everyone.